let's move forward with this. So uh now they have the sex worker on here. I told you guys he goes by the name the Punisher, the sex worker, right? He goes by the name of the Punisher, and he is currently on the stand right now. Uh, you know, saying his piece. And again, uh, he said he was hired in 2012 to create a sexy erotic scene for Diddy and Cassie, right? And so the government asked him why was he called the Punisher, right? Now he says he was called the Punisher, right? And you guys like, share, and subscribe. He said he was called the Punisher because he played basketball on West 4th Street. So his name didn't come from like the bed. His name came from uh playing basketball. Now, the government asked him, the woman who called you, what time did she book for you? Now he says at midnight. They were doing all this at Donald Trump's hotel, y'all. They were freaking off in Donald Trump's hotel. Trump is never giving this dude a pardon. I don't care what nobody say, yo. Trump is not giving this mofo a pardon, bro. He ain't doing it, bro. This dude ain't getting no pardon, bro. So he says that they were scheduled midnight at the Trump Tower, Central Park West, a striptease for a small group of friends, right? Yeah, y'all smash the like button, share, and subscribe as y'all come on in. Salute to everybody that's tapped on in. Let me know if y'all can hear me in the comment section. Press 1 if y'all can hear me. I got a mic check. So, yeah, man. So it says that, the government asked him, when you got there, how did Cassie Ventura appear? They asked him when he got there. He says that when he got there, she was in the bathroom with nothing. Nothing on. Nothing underneath. She had a wig on. He said, I was expecting a crowd there, but there was no one else. He said that Cassie told him that her and her husband wanted to create a sexual scene with baby oil. That nigga Diddy's the baby boy, the baby oil bandit, nigga. Diddy is the baby oil, bootied up, glistened up bandit. That's what he is. That's what he is. Right? So it says, well, what did she hand to you? And the sex worker said that she handed him $800. Now, the government says, well, how was the room? And the sex worker says that the room was dimly lit. It had electric candles. It had bowls with baby oil in them. Now, he says, and he says something very strange here, y'all. But he said that Cassie told him to not acknowledge Diddy, not to look at him when he came out. All right. So he's saying that she's already set up this scene to where you're not going to look at him. When he come out, you're not going to look at him. You're not going to acknowledge him. There's going to be none of that going on. It's basically what he said, right? Now, right? Now, the government asked, well, did he come out? And the sex worker said, yes. He said that, yeah, he came out. He said, did he came out naked? This man said, this sex worker said that Diddy came out bucket naked. but he couldn't see his face. He described it as a Muslim woman, a mask that she would wear where you would only see the eyes. And he said Diddy came out naked with a bottle of Astroglide in his hand. Now, the government asked him, well, how did you recognize that? And Diddy said, or excuse me, sex worker said, I use it, the purple top. The government said, well, how did it end? And the sex worker said, well, she went into the other room with him. And when she came back, she asked if I wanted to finish. I said no. If they were happy, I was happy. She gave me more money. The government said, well, did you do it again? And he said, yes, 8 or 12 more times. He says he did this again for money. And the government said, how did you end up recognizing her? He said, I was a fan of Diddy and I followed him on Instagram and I saw her on it. Man. Situation, something crazy, you guys. Something, wow, bro. I mean, there's not going to be a way to really get around this. To be honest with everybody that's watching this video, there's not going to be any way that Diddy's going to be able to get out of this, bro. You're not going to be able to weasel his way out of this situation, bro. He's out of here, bro. But for the way he treated that girl's mother, bro, like the world's worst person, Sean Diddy Combs, man. Treat the girl's mother like that, bro. No respect for nobody, my nigga. Shit's pitiful, bro. It's pitiful. I'm still thinking about the mother. I'm still thinking about the mother, man. Man, bro. Yo, I'm so mad right now. Yeah, this ticket. But yeah, you guys, like I said to y'all, man, I'm just, again, bro, that shit foul, man. It's foul, bro. It's foul. You know, you see it. You know, he's a foul person. No, nothing else to be spoken about. He's a foul individual, bro. I have no respect for that nigga, man. But the sex workers, yeah, he gonna get jammed up on this. They got multiple. And the question is that how are they gonna charge those different counts? Because you know the judge, he's probably gonna put those counts on top of each other, which means that he probably won't even let Diddy serve these sentences together. I guarantee you, he make these workers, or he make his time goes, he gonna make Diddy's time not concurrent, but consecutive. He gonna make it after. So it's gonna be you serve one count and then you're gonna serve another count. You're not gonna let him put all the years together. So let's say he gets 5 counts, all guilty, and let's say he gets 10 years for each count. He gonna serve 50 years. The judge has that choice to make you serve all the years together, which would be 10 years that you served them all together, or be 50 years if you stack them up. He gonna stack them shits up. Watch. That judge don't like this dude. I'm telling y'all that. I can tell you right now. Shout out to Winnie Amos with the donation in the Cash App. Salute to you. Said great coverage of the Diddy trial. Salute to you. Shout out to Katasha Harge with the donation to the Cash App as well. She says, private small world. I personally know Sheree. Man, that's crazy. You know the worker? You know this sex worker? That's crazy. I got somebody in my chat that sent a donation that says she know this sex worker. Man, that's crazy. You know they got to be embarrassed. Like, you get outed like that in front of the world, yeah, you embarrassed. You definitely embarrassed. You get outed like that in front of the world, and you know this guy, yeah, you embarrassed. That's embarrassing, and I can believe that too. I definitely can believe that situation, what you just said. And y'all hit the like button too. Let's get the lights up, man. But yeah, this dude going to, like I said, when he comes back, he's probably going to give more testimony, and it's just going to be another sex worker that they have on the docket that's just going to prove, you know what I'm saying, what I've been telling y'all about the racketeering, or actually not the racketeering, it's going to prove the sex working. You know what I'm saying? It's going to prove that aspect of it, like I've been telling everybody. But, you know, when they don't want to listen, it is what it is, man. Sometimes you got to let just the facts and the evidence in the case speak for itself. You know? That's better than coming and arguing with anybody, because now when all the evidence come out, now everything changes. Everything changes when all the evidence come out. And so we see what this situation was on, man. We definitely see the pattern, the means, all that. You know, sad story, man. Very sad story that we watched, that we witnessed. And so, you know, Diddy will have to pay for the things that he have done. As he's definitely going to pay for that. You know, to the person who said he's going to beat it. Now, the only thing he's going to beat is his Jimmy Jammy in prison. That's the only thing he's going to beat, sir. They can keep paying y'all to make those comments, but it's not going to help. You guys will be disappeared in about 7 weeks. Won't ever see from y'all ever again. That boy will be in prison, under a prison. You know? So you can try to give yourself as much false hope as you want to. But, yeah, you know, they can keep paying y'all to say that stuff if you know, that's what they're doing. You know? So, again, anybody that's listening to this thing, man, y'all see what it is, man. Salute everybody in the building. You say you don't understand why? Nah, because these people want to keep the foolishness going. You know, these people are perpetuators of evil, and that's just all there is to it. Anytime you hold a person's mother, her mother, and the government had no questions. Think about that. That tells you everything. The jury gonna find this nigga so guilty. I told you they had nobody put up there against her mother. Nobody. The mother tried to fight Diddy, bro. Think about that shit. Think about if your mom tried to fight a nigga because your dad ain't around. Your mom tried to fight this nigga because he putting his hands on you, bro. That's crazy, bro. They said the mom seen Diddy and tried to hit Diddy for beating up her daughter. And I respect the mama. The mama stood on business. The mama stood on business. But this is why it's important to have fathers in these girls' lives, man. And Diddy took advantage of that. He lucky this girl didn't have no father. Because the father would have came through, I tell you right now, man. But her father's Filipino. They got a laid back. Like I said, Diddy had a whole lot of stuff working in his favor, bro. Because I'm going to tell you something, man. And that's the crazy part. Like, all the people that take over Diddy, man, if they had a daughter and somebody did their daughter like that, bro, they'd be ready to take this dude off planet Earth. Wouldn't even be no questions. He gone. And they know he would have been gone. That's the crazy part about this whole situation. They would have iced him quick. But it's all gonna stop today, y'all. Or they might still cap, but it's not gonna help. Nothing's gonna help, man. You know what I'm saying? Nothing's gonna help, bro. Not when you do this to people, bro. And it, like I said, it's so bad that the government had no questions for her mom. Like, they should have said no questions, man. Like, they couldn't even get on the stand and say nothing. They had nothing to say to her mother because her mother was telling the truth. Her mother was telling the truth, bro. So they had nothing for the mother. So yeah, I think this is the second sex worker that have testified, you guys. If I'm not mistaken, this is the second sex worker that have testified. So now they're adding up the sex workers too that's testifying against them. So we got to really see how many sex workers they have testifying, because they're going to charge those sex workers too. So I'm pretty sure they're going to have a lot of sex workers testifying against Diddy. So that's going to destroy her. I don't know why Diddy took this case to court. It don't make any sense to me. Like, bro, they got way too much evidence, bro. They wasn't going to go unless they had all this evidence, bro. I don't know why he did that, bro. His ego, bro. It's just his ego, man. It had to have been his ego, bro. Because no man that have any common sense would have gambled like this. None. He really thought he was that guy, man. He really thought it, bro. So he thought he was gonna go just get away like he always did in the past. But he forgot that this is the Fed. This man just hired a 10th lawyer, bro. He know he's cooked. You got 10 lawyers? Bro, you out of here, bro. 10 lawyers, bro. 10 lawyers. And I was in here saying all the things I was telling everybody, even before the lawyers were saying it on YouTube. Everybody was talking about, oh, you capping. You don't know what you're talking about, man. Come on, bro.
Let's talk about the conspiracy. From at least 2008 through on or about the filing of this indictment in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, Sean Combs, the defendant, and others, known and unknown, blah, 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 to conduct indirectly and directly in the conduct of affairs of the Combs enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity. So, and really, it's multiple acts involving kidnapping, multiple acts involving arson, burning people, multiple acts involving bribery, multiple acts of witness tampering or intimidation. I think one of the witnesses testified that she was told that witnesses can disappear. Sex trafficking, transportation to induce travel for prostitution, and multiple offenses, the possession with intent to distribute drugs. So you've got all these different, so it's not just about sex trafficking, and people kind of lose sight of that. This is about drugs. This is about intimidation. It's about witness tampering. It's about arson, setting something on fire. I don't even remember what that's all about yet. But it's about all these different things added up to one. And that's why he's charged with racketeering. Because if you charge racketeering, it's a big umbrella. And the guidelines are incredibly high. There's a special sentencing enhancement that they talk about on paragraph 15 of the indictment. Notice of special sentencing factor, and that relates to sex trafficking. So then you got count 2, sex trafficking. What is sex trafficking? That's where I'll tell you what the actual elements of sex trafficking are. I know this is kind of tedious, and we'll get into some of the substance of what's happened so far, but I think it's instructive because it gets you to better understand where the government's coming from. So sex trafficking. First, the defendant knowingly recruited, enticed, harbored, transported, provided, obtained, advertised, maintained, patronized, or solicited a person for sex. Second, the defendant knew or was in reckless disregard of the fact that force, threats of force, fraud, coercion, or any combination would be used to cause the person to engage in a commercial sex act. And third, the defendant's acts were interstate commerce. When you, I don't know if he charged for these freak offs or not, but when you hire a prostitute and make that guy have sex with your wife or your girlfriend, and she's kind of an unwilling participant, and you make her do this, and other people are watching for their enjoyment, for days, which is, I think, what the allegation basically is. Then you have, and if you don't do it, I'm going to ruin you. That's force, fraud, or coercion. That's coercion, basically. So then we have transportation to engage in prostitution. This one's the easiest one out of all of these. First, the defendant knowingly attempted to transport a person in interstate foreign commerce. Basically, I'm giving you an airline ticket to fly here, or I ask you to come here. Second, the defendant attempted to transport a person with the intent that such person engage in prostitution. I hire Mr. Atlas. I'm just going to call him Mr. Atlas, all oiled up, because he's got 100 bottles of olive oil or body oil, baby oil, joy jelly, whatever you want to call it, on his way. So he's coming to do this. Third, that if the sexual activity had occurred, which we know it did, based upon the sexual activity that occurred, the defendant could have been charged with criminal offense under the laws of the United States. In other words, if it's just regular prostitution. So third and fourth, the defendant did something that was a substantial step towards committing the crime, and that strongly corroborated the defendant's intent to commit the crime. Mere preparation is not a substantial step towards committing the crime. To constitute a substantial step, a defendant's act or actions must unequivocally demonstrate the crime will take place unless interrupted by independent circumstances. The jurors do not need to agree unanimously as to which particular act or actions constitute a substantial step. So those are the charges that he's facing, okay? Now, how would I handle this? I don't know there's much of a defense to the transporting across state lines to engage in prostitution. I mean, you'd have to have the prostitute come in and say, I was just doing this to have fun with Diddy. I didn't get paid, but he got paid. And I think they have records that they got paid. And Diddy probably tried to deduct it from his taxes, I would bet. So Cassie took the stand for several days of testimony at Diddy's trial. And they read in dozens and dozens of text messages. They also had some recordings that Diddy didn't know she had. And here's the other thing. In federal court, you don't have to give your testimony or your discovery until like 3 days before the trial or before the appearance of the witness. So it is trial by ambush. There's no question about that. The highly prejudicial publicity in the letter that the judge received a letter from Diddy's lawyers. And when did this went out? Oh, that was October 20th. What the fuck? Why is that? So they're reading some of these text messages. And here's the thing. You've got messages from Cassie saying, that she's always ready to freak off. In other words, you've got, and that I would pound on that. I would absolutely take that to Pound Town, for lack of a better word. When do you want to freak off? Am I supposed to come back to you? So this is, I think, from Diddy. LOL, I'm going up to change and put my ring in. You know what the kind of ring that is, I think. I just picked it up. I'm always ready to freak off. And then from Puffy, that was from Puffy. It says, when? Do you want to freak off? And that's from BG New Pin. I think that's from Cassie. Me too. I miss you already. Me too. I just want it to be uncontrollable. I can't wait to watch you. I want you to get real hot. I can't wait to stare at some big black dick. These are powerful statements. And I can't wait either. I can't wait. That's why I want to see. I'm thinking about licking those dicks. From the blanks to the blank, then slowly lowering my mouth to let it hit the back of my throat. I mean, these are from Cassie ostensibly. You listen to these and they don't sound like she's looking for help, right? LOL, sorry, I'm nervous. I feel like I want to fuck. I mean, how you feeling? Talk to me. Oh my God, I just about to text you the same thing. They've got a lot of text messages from her. And they're going to have to show that she was doing this, but not really in the back of her mind, she doesn't want to do this. You know, they had somebody come in and testify that that she saw Cassie being hit, and I think it had to do with a pan. She had a pan thrown at her or something. And this is not on camera. This is from 2009. Okay, I'm so horny I can't concentrate. Jesus Christ, get over yourselves. So what do you want to do? I'm going to Dwayne Reed to grab candles, and then I'm going home to pack us a bag. You want any red clothes, by the way, or just sweats? Then I go check in and set the room up. I'll eat, take my vitamins, LOL, and get ready before I leave the house. I just want to know what you're thinking. And the next one says, I just deleted our little video to this off of my camera. It was so dope. And basically with these text messages, they're damaging to the prosecution because they tend to show a willing participant. And I would hammer those home if I was the jury. The problem is that you have more than just the sex part. You have the drugs. And there's no question that there's a lot of drugs here. And that's part of the racketeering. So you've got the drugs, you've got witness intimidation, so let's just say she was consensual and all this stuff. Well, that just takes away one of the types of overt acts that they're talking about. Let's read a couple more of these.
Yep, that's what I try to tell y'all, man. Everybody's depending on Cassie, man. That don't mean nothing. When you under the RICO, all they gotta do is get two out of all those things in a 10-year span, and you out of here. Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Salute to everybody that's in here, man. Appreciate all y'all. Love, honor, respect. Holler at y'all after lunch. Don't.